video, I'm going to show you what we did to double our show up rate and as a consequence to pretty much get our sales conversion rate on calls to 35% consistently and also to get more people to pay us in full. So I'm going to break down exactly what we did step by step and what you can also do as well. And I'm also going to give you 8 levers that you can implement in your business right away so you can double your show up rate as well. So really quick before we get into it, my name is Gabriel. I'm the founder of Zeta Media. We are a growth partner for coaches, consultants, and course creators. And we have pretty much implemented what I'm about to show you in this video to 139 other businesses. And we have helped them to improve their show up rates. And we have scaled most of them to 100K a month and even some of them to 7 figures in monthly revenue consistently. So with that being said, I want you to pay attention to this video because I'm not only going to show you how to improve your show up rates, but I'm also going to tell you what you can do to improve your conversion rate and to get more people to pay you in full on the call. So obviously this is pretty important because it is going to affect the whole sales part of your business. So with that being said, let's get into it. So first of all, when does the show up rate become a problem? Well, it's typically going to happen as you're going to scale up, right? As you increase your ad spend, as you reach, broader pockets of people, this is going to become a problem. But also, it's going to happen if you have inefficiencies in your marketing or funnel. So, before we dive into the levers, I really want to address some principles and some common misconceptions. So, first of all, your client acquisition system is a system with all interconnected parts. Okay, so all parts are connected together and are affecting other parts of the funnel. Okay, what this means that if, for example, you change one line in the ad, this can influence every other part of the system. So it's pretty important. You have to look at the system as a whole and as it is interconnected. Okay, so that means that the system can look good otherwise, but if the ad itself is not on point, this can heavily influence the lead quality, the closing rate, and so on. So, for example, again, if I change one copy in one of our ads, the whole other metrics of the funnel can drastically change even if I don't change anything else in the funnel. So, only one line of copy in one ad and can change the whole funnel. This is how things work. And the problem is that most people try to optimize parts in isolation without understanding this and without understanding that every single part is interconnected. So you really do need to understand this before you go on and implement any of the levers that I'm going to show you. So, and also another principle, more friction equals higher show up rates and better quality. So this is the principle. With this being said, let's get started into the first lever. So the first lever is going to be the offer. And honestly, this is the most powerful lever and this is the most important lever that you can implement. Okay. As everyone says, the offer is the most important thing. Offer is king. That is true. And offer is going to actually affect your show up rate. So the classic template for offer that we all know and love is, I'll guarantee you whatever outcome in the time frame or risk reversal, right? Or you get the risk reversal. So essentially, when it comes to the offer, you want to focus everything on the top of the market. Okay, so the top 10% of your clients, and you want to make sure that your total addressable market is between 30,000 and 100,000 in the US. So you want to be super specific. And the key when it comes to offer and messaging on the front end is being super specific. So that means that you have to follow the 3S formula to solve a specific problem for a specific person in one specific way. So this is the 3S formula. I took this from Cole Gordon, but it's really, really useful and it's a very good way to view your offers and to kind of like build your offers. Because you cannot get cold traffic to work without specificity. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at all of your clients right now and you want to decide, okay, which clients do you like working with the most? Okay, which ones you get the best results for? Which are the easiest to serve? Which ones are the easiest to sell to? And so on. And you also want to be looking at your current skill set, aka your service delivery. What problem are you the best at solving? What problem can you see yourself enjoying and really going deep on? Okay. And once you pretty much answer the first question and the second question, then you can essentially find the way, which is your mechanism, your unique way of solving things. Because you want to really very good at solving this specific problem for this specific market. Okay, so a specific way is the unique mechanism that you are going to use. So basically, the unique mechanism, what it is basically the simultaneous explanation of why everything they've tried in the past has failed and why this time is going to be different with your service. You want to have a very strong mechanism, okay? But the point is that you want to be super specific with your offer. You cannot go broad, okay? You have to be hyper specific with the prospect that you're targeting, aka the person, with the problem that they are facing, and with your method of solving the problem. Okay, if you're not specific enough with your messaging, with your offer, and with the front end of your funnel, then eventually people are not going to show up, and pretty much nothing is going to work, and everything is going to have a everything is going to be like a snowball effect negatively. So really want to pay attention to the offer. The second lever that you can pull is pretty simple and also pretty important, is grading applications and applications approval process. Okay, so again, this is going to have a huge impact and a huge effect on the business, and it's actually pretty easy to improve and to implement. So first of all, you want to make sure that you have a proper application process before allowing people to book the call. So essentially, you want to follow an application grading process. So this means that basically you're going to have three or more multi-choice questions, and you want to assign a score for every single answer and then for every single lead. So let me show you an example here just so you see how this is going to look like. So essentially, as I said, we want to assign a score for every single lead that we're going to have. Okay, so here we have the score in this particular example. But as you can see here, we have multiple questions which are qualifying questions, and we have multiple answers here that are going to be assigned from 1 to 4, 1 being the worst, 4 being the best. Okay, so for example, in this case, we have multiple questions which are qualifying. So the first one is about the revenue. For example, if they're doing below 10K a month, they're unqualified, we're going to cancel them. If they're doing between 10 and 50, they're okay-ish. If they're doing between 50 and 100, they're good. If they're doing 100K and above, they are the best. Okay, so when it comes to lead flow, for example, how many book calls are they getting themselves? If they are getting above 5 a week, it's unqualified. Okay, I mean, if they're getting less than 5 a week, they're unqualified. If they're getting between 5 and 10 a week, they are okay. If they're getting 10, 20 a week, they're good. And if they're doing 20 plus a week, they are the best. And so on. I think you do get the point. But essentially, you want to do this for multiple questions. Challenge and need, for example, why did they book the call for? If they're able to invest, how good were their actual answers to the questions, and what niche are they? So based on all this, we are going to assign a score to every single qualifying questions that we had, and then we are going to overall assign a score for every single lead based on the answer. So as you can see here, in this case, we have here 3.14. Obviously, this is going to change, and this is going to automatically calculate. So in this case, if we got a 2.86, what this means is basically that it is okay-ish, between okay and good. So, in this case, because it's 2.86, we would actually approve the lead. Okay, we wouldn't necessarily need to move it to a setter. If we would have like, not 271, but let's just say um, 243, then obviously it would be like closer to 2, and we would need to actually move this lead to a setter. That means that we're going to have an appointment setter calling the lead and actually pre-qualifying the lead before the call. So this is the grading system. It's pretty easy to implement, and you want to implement this and cancel the unqualified calls. This is absolutely key. Now, when it comes to canceling policy, you want to cancel up to 50% of applications, specifically for B2C. And you also want to optimize for calendar efficiency, because you can be fully booked with calls, but obviously if a lot of calls are not going to show up and if they're not going to close, then you're not going to be able to scale. And you want to optimize for efficient qualified calls on your calendar that are actually going to show up. So also another thing that we do is we use calendar logic to teach the pixel which leads are actually qualified. And this is also pretty important because, for example, if they're not qualified, we are going to reroute them to another page, to a downsell or like thank you page that doesn't have a pixel. So this way we do not fire the pixel if the lead is unqualified, if that makes sense. So huge thing right here. You definitely want to do this. And this is definitely going to completely change the quality of the leads that are going to come through the ads. So how this is going to affect the numbers is cost per lead is going to go up, cost per book call is also going to go up, but the cost per marketing qualified lead, essentially cost per qualified call, is going to go down. So you definitely want to do this. You want to use a grading system from 1 to 4, okay? 1 cancel, and then the other ones essentially, mark as free or move to an appointment setter, or just confirm them as a normal call. But the biggest thing is obviously just canceling up to 50% of the calls if they're not qualified, and if they're going to be like an obvious no-show or like an obvious person that's not going to be able to close on the call. So Very important, and definitely make sure that you also implement the second lever. Now, the third lever is actually when it comes to media buying and ads, and it's actually about the optimization event. So what you want to do is you can play around with your with your funnel, and you can remove the opt-in, optimize the pixel around book calls instead of opt-ins. And this is pretty much what I told you here earlier, right? But by changing the optimization events, essentially, you are going to get and reach out to a higher quality segment of the market on Facebook, and therefore you're going to increase quality and show up rates and closing rate as a byproduct. Now, because we are talking about the funnel, also very important thing here to notice is that a good VSL will always outperform, right? As opposed to like a direct to application or direct to sales page. Okay, when it comes to quality and show up rate. So having a good VSL is going to ultimately lead to a higher show up rate and higher quality when it comes to the leads. Okay, so this is why I said that all the parts are basically interconnected when it comes to the funnel. So obviously, a good VSL will help as well, and you don't have to make it long. Okay, it can be just like a 4 minute VSL, and this is going to have an 85 plus show up rates if the VSL is good. Now, also, when it comes to media buying, if you're going to run Facebook lead forms, so like a direct to application, or if you do not run no opt in at all, or if you're just going to use like image ads on Facebook, then this is ultimately going to underperform in terms of show up rates and quality. And we found this with multiple clients. So the best way to really run this is would be a video ad. Okay, so not an image, a video ad that is going to lead to an opt-in, and then from the opt-in we would go to the short form VSL, and then to the application. So as you can see, pretty much everything is video. Okay, and you can pretty much implement this funnel on Facebook and on YouTube as well, which is pretty big, right? So this is what you want to do, and obviously you want to pay attention to your VSL, see if the VSL is any good, and then essentially optimize around the right event. So this is the lever number 3. When it comes to the fourth lever, this is a pretty aggressive one, but sometimes you're going to need to do it. Is you have the IP Calendly question. So what this is basically is you are going to just pretty much implement this question in your Calendly application. So are you 100% going to be able to show up at the time selected? And if not, then our internal system automatically blocks your IP address from being able to rebook the call. Okay, so this is in case they do not show up to the call. So this question is really, really gonna basically, eliminate all the people that were not that serious and just wanted to see what you have, basically, and we're not 100% gonna show up. So a pretty aggressive question, but obviously a pretty effective one, because the more friction that you add, the higher the quality, and therefore the higher the show up rate. So a pretty good one to implement, and you can definitely do this. Now, the fifth lever is going to be a good thank you page, and this is massive. Okay, this is massive, and honestly, if you just implement this one thing and you have everything right when it comes to your offer, um, when it comes to your messaging on the front end in terms of being specific, if you just implement this thank you page, okay, this will definitely improve the show up rate. So it's pretty high when it comes to effectiveness. So essentially, the thing is this: step one, you want to add an image when showing them how to accept the calendar invite, and I'm going to show you an example in just a minute. You want to add a thank you video, a short thank you video. It can be like around 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be too long. And then the third step is you want to add like a training podcast slash interview slash case study. It's a longer form resource, which is going to basically prep them for the call. So this asset should position yourself as a true expert and show prospects that they have to 100% show up to the appointment, because it's something really valuable. So let me just show you an example from one of our clients here, so you just get the point and see how a page looks like. So first of all, we tell them that the call is not confirmed yet, and they have to take 2 more steps basically to get on a call. So this is the pre-call video, 3 minutes, short, sweet, and to the point. And essentially, you want to show them that they need to add the event to their calendar, they need to accept it, and just show them how to do it. And then also have an image here which shows, because sometimes what's going to happen in Gmail, people are going to receive the invite in their spam folder. So you want to make sure that we remind them to actually check the spam folder as well, press the I know sender button, and then eventually accept the invite and add this to their own calendar. And then the second step is going to be the longer asset video on the page, which is obviously going to prep them for the call. So this is also important as well. So this is pretty much the structure, and this is ideally the structure of the thank you page that you want to do. So Again, in the call, in the pre-call video, you just want to get straight to the point and you want to keep it pretty short. Okay, I mean about the first one, not the essay that you use to prep them for the call. So the sixth thing, and here is not really lever, but I actually said what you need to not send before the call because a lot of people mess this up. So a lot of people send a bunch of stuff before the call, but this can actually damage and decrease your show up rates and make them much worse. So the thing is this, you want to do one thing at a time. And what you also need to understand about sales is that obviously there are two sales made with every single prospect. One is on the method, the other one is on the product. So therefore, in your marketing, you should only focus on selling the method, not the product. Okay, your method, aka your way of doing things, aka your unique mechanism. Okay, so that means that you don't want to, basically do a demo for your service, a demo for the product. You don't want to be talking about features on the pre-call video or in the marketing. You want to leave all that for the call. And you also want to make sure that you're not going to apply sales pressure before the call. You don't want to use, hard language, like, only come to this call if you're serious and you're ready to make a decision kind of thing. And you definitely don't want to position it as like a free coaching session or like a free coaching call. Okay, you want to be somewhere in the middle, so not too hard, not too soft. So essentially what you want to do is you want to also sell the call right on a pre-call video and in your VSL. You want to basically position the call as valuable and as something that is no pressure, okay, while making sure that it's not framed as something free that they can just attend. And obviously here comes the rule of one. So pretty simple. You want to get them to do one thing at a time. So essentially, obviously, one step of every single funnel should have one clear action step that you want the prospect to take. So the pre-call video structure, again, we talked about it earlier, but it's pretty straightforward. So first of all, you want to confirm the appointment. You want to tell them where they can find the Zoom link. You want to basically talk about the no tolerance policy for no-shows. You want to sell them of watching the bonus video, which is the longer format video, and you want to tell them how they should prepare for the call. And then after this, you want to keep things pretty simple when it comes to sending them messages. And remember to not do anything else. Okay. So we just want to keep things as simple as humanly possible. Now, the seventh lever is going to be the pre-call SMS and messaging sequence. Okay, obviously, you want to send text messages to the prospects, and here are a few scripts that you can just use. You can just pause this video and you can take pretty much the scripts from here if you want to. And the thing is that if people are not going to respond to the SMS and the email confirmations, or even if you call them and they're not going to pick up the phone, you want to cancel people who do not respond to any of the above, or obviously do not respond to your calls. And natively in Calendly, you want to have a few things. So 12-hour prior reminder, then 3-hour and 1 hour before the call. Also, another thing that you want to do, especially for B2C, you want to connect on socials if applicable. For example, it can be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is going to be, wherever your prospect is going to be mostly active. You want to connect with them on the that specific social platform. Also, another thing that you can do is you can create a group with a prospect, with a setter and closer, and you can have everyone basically in the same group. And this way, the connection is basically going to be stronger. Now, another thing that you want to do, and you want to get your closers or your appointment setter to actually do this personally, you want to get them to send a message the night before the call. Okay, a personal message, not a message that pretty much looks cookie cutter and like copy paste and like it was like an automated message. You want to send them this message where you essentially ask them if they have the Zoom link, and if even if they're going to immediately respond, like the same night, you want to do this the night before again, and even if they respond the same night, you do not want to reply to them up until the next morning. Okay, so I actually want to reply next morning, regardless of what they do. And then next thing, in the morning of the call, if they do not reply, you want to text them a question mark. Okay, and see what's going to happen basically. And if they still do not answer to the question mark text, then obviously you want to call them. You want to call them and pre-confirm the appointment again. And if they do not pick up the phone, then you are going to cancel the call. So as you can see, it's like a pretty straightforward, it's like a pretty automated process that you want to respect. And simply put, if leads are not going to answer your calls, if they're not going to answer your emails and SMS messages, then you want to call them. You want to cancel the call right away. So it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But if you follow this, I guarantee that people who are actually going to reply, they're actually going to show up on a call. So super, super duper important. And then the last lever that you can pull, and this is the lever number 8, you can test a VSL versus a DSL. So a DSL is basically a direct sales letter. And this can also work a lot in oversaturated markets. So, for example, in markets like coaches and consultants, agencies, course creators, and stuff like that, you can actually test a DSL as opposed to a VSL because coaches and consultants, they are so used to VSL, they're so so bombarded with marketing messages, and most of the times they're going to use a VSL themselves. So you want to be able to differentiate yourself and to use another asset because probably they're so tired of watching sales videos and stuff like that that you just use something fresh and it's just going to feel different. So let me just show you an example of a DSL. A DSL is essentially a VSL but in slides format. So as you can see here, people can flick around the slides and they can go through the whole presentation at their own pace. So this is pretty cool because again, for oversaturated markets, this is just something different. And people can look at the whole thing in under 5 minutes. Okay, they can just like briefly click through all the slides in even like 3 minutes. So it's super fast. They don't have to, sit around and watch like a 10-minute VSL, which obviously sells them, and they're probably pretty tired of watching sales videos. So you can also test the DSL. But remember, the VSL or the DSL, whatever you're going to use, the asset itself and the quality of the asset and how powerful it is, how powerful your copy and your delivery is also going to affect the metrics in the funnel, such as show up rate, closing rate, painfuls, and so on. So pretty important. Again, everything is interconnected. So what I can tell you is that you want to implement one thing at a time. Okay, you want to implement one thing at a time and scientifically see how it affects the show up rate, the closing rate, and the pay in full rate. Okay, so this is pretty important. You want to implement one thing at a time, see exactly how it affects the whole funnel, and then make decisions based on data. You want to basically test this like like a someone who's a scientific kind of person. Okay, you want to do this like a science test or something like this. Okay, so pretty important. But I guarantee you, if you implement all these 8 things, then your show up rate is pretty much going to be 85% plus. Okay, even if you implement just like the first 3 things from this list, I guarantee that your applications are going to go up to 85% when it comes to show up rate. So, with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and I invite you to like this video. Okay, so you're going to see more videos like this, which are going to help you in your business. And I also invite you to hit the subscribe button on my channel right now because I am going to post more videos like this, which are going to help you with your business. And they're going to be just pretty straightforward videos where I'm just going to try to help you as much as I can. Now, if you are a coach, consultant, or like a course creator and you want to scale your business, you want to scale to 100K a month or even like 7 figures in monthly revenue, and maybe if you're struggling with show up rates, feel free to go into the description down below. There I have a VSL link where I pretty much explain exactly how we can help and what our offer is because it's pretty cool. We do this with a pay for performance model. So if you want to check it out, just so you know, it's in the description. Honestly, I don't really care if you go right now and check it or not. But just for you to know, it's right there in the description. So if you want to talk to us, if you want to see exactly what we have and how we can help you, in the description, there's a link and you can check it out. So that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time. Cheers.